All right, welcome back to Skippers. Today, I'm doing a tier list of MLB stadiums. You have allowed me into your homes watching all the content. Now, welcome into my home. We're going to get right into the stadiums. First up, American Family Field, Milwaukee Brewers, 41,900, retractable roof, a retro modern stadium. Looking at the pictures here, I mean, it looks pretty cool from the outside. The coolest thing about this field is the slide that Bernie Brewer slides down when they hit a home run. Other than that, I think the layout of the stadium is kind of cool. I mean, the grass always looks good at this stadium. For me, I think this is a B tier stadium. There's nothing too special about American Family Field. Miller Park was a way better name for this place anyways. So B tier. Next up, we have Angel Stadium, Anaheim, California. This is a pretty cool stadium, 45,000, a modern, retro modern stadium. I don't know what that means. Obviously an open stadium. The coolest part about this field is, I believe, is the rocks in left center, right? I mean, when you hit them off the rocks, or they had the sign that said hit it here and win some money. That was cool. Other than this, the stadium doesn't really have much to it. Again, not a lot of history to this as well. I think for me, it should be better than American Family Field, but I think, again, I'm going to change this up. I think B tier, Angel Stadium, and then I might go C tier, American Family Field, or change this up. But we'll go for now. Keep it as it is. Next, we got Busch Stadium, St. Louis, Missouri, the St. Louis Cardinals, opened in 2006, a retro classic stadium. And I don't know about you guys, but I love Busch Stadium. I think it is one of the coolest stadiums in baseball. I think St. Louis is just an awesome baseball town. So when you look at Busch Stadium, again, there's not much to it, but the backdrop is amazing. Like, the backdrop's really cool. Obviously the arch in the background. I think this is just an awesome field. For me, this is an S tier stadium. Again, not much to it stadium wise. The history is not great, but S tier for me. All right, here we go. Oriole Park at Camden Yards, Baltimore, Maryland. 45,000 seats in the stadium. It is a retro classic stadium. When you look at Camden Yards, I think it is a very underrated stadium. Obviously, the building at the back in right field, people, if you could hit one off there, I think it would be the coolest thing ever. They ruined the stadium by putting left field back however many feet they did. So I hate that about this park. But I think this is an underrated. I really do want to move this into S tier. I think it's that good. But for right now, I'm going to put it in A tier. I think Oriole Park at Camden Yards is just that cool. All right, we get into one of the more unfortunate stadiums in baseball, and that's Chase Field, home of the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's a retro modern, retractable roof. What can you really say about Chase Field except they have the pool in right field? I don't know if they still have that, but it was the Dodgers who did it a couple of years ago, right? They celebrated after winning the division, and they just went into the pool. I think Arizona is probably a cool place to watch a game. Like, it's open seats, not a lot of history to it as well. So for me, Chase Field doesn't do much for me. I'm going to go C tier. Citi Field, home of the New York Mets, 41,000, opened in 2009, a retro classic. For me, it's kind of Yankee Stadium, Citi Field. They're fine to me, right? They are just shells of what their old stadiums used to be. Shea was a cool stadium. It was unique. And then, I mean, it's different about this stadium is you have the Big Apple in the middle after a home run. I can't get my head wrapped around this being like an A tier or an S tier stadium. So I'm going to go B. It is a solid park, Citi Field. Citizens Bank Park, home of the Philadelphia Phillies, 2004, another retro classic stadium. I do like Citizens Bank Ballpark a lot. I have not been to Citizens Bank. I've been to some of these. I've probably been to 10 stadiums here, and you'll know the ones that I've been to. Philly's is a good place to watch a baseball game, I would say. I think the layout of the stadium's cool. They have the shrubs and stuff in center. I mean, watchability on TV as well is a big thing that I kind of look at when I see these games. And I think Philly's a good place to watch a game on TV, a good place to watch a game at the Yard. I'm going to go an A-tier stadium, Citizens Bank Park. Comerica Park, a stadium I'm not a huge fan of, Detroit Tigers. Opened in 2000, 41,000 are seated there. It's a retro classic stadium as well. I'm not a big fan of Comerica Park, as I said before. I don't think there's much to it. The Detroit skyline doesn't really make it that cool for me. I think they did a good job building the stadium, but there's just really nothing special to it for me. I mean, they have the connection of the dirt between home plate and the pitcher's mound. That's maybe a little unique. Not many teams have that, but I have Comerica slotted in as a B tier stadium, and I think it might move down here. Coors Field, home of the Colorado Rockies, is our next stadium. 50,000 here, open in 95, a retro classic. I think this is a very underrated stadium as well. There's not much to it. Doesn't make it much different. There's a lot of stadiums that just seem very similar from their layout, but I think one of the best places I've been to watch a baseball game personally. I'm going to go A tier for Coors Field. Dodger Stadium, a place I want to get to, 56,000, 1962. A modern stadium is what they classify it as. It is not so modern anymore. Tons of years old, 60 years old here at least. I think there's just so much history in a park like this. I had nothing to say, but this is an S tier stadium for sure. It's a place I want to get to. People who've been to Dodger Stadium, let me know if you think it's as good as it plays on TV. I think it is a unique stadium. Dodger Stadium, S tier. Probably the biggest no-brainer here is Fenway Park, 1912. It is a jewel box stadium. What that means, I have absolutely no clue. 37,000 has to be one of the smaller yards in baseball. It is so unique and so awesome, Fenway. Obviously, the Green Monster. I saw a TikTok the other day of just everything that makes it unique. There is like poles running down the middle of seats. The seats are really tiny. As a bigger lad myself, I don't think this would be a comfortable game. I want to watch a game on top of the Green Monster. I will pay whatever it takes to do that. Fenway Park, maybe the easiest S tier, maybe the easiest tier thing to tier of all time. Next up, Great American Ballpark, Cincinnati, Ohio, 42,000, open in 2003, a retro modern stadium. I like watching games at this park. I've been to maybe 4 or 5 Reds games. I think it's kind of a cool stadium. It's a comfy stadium. I'll say that when you're in there. Every time I've gone, there hasn't been like really full. So I've been able to enjoy myself at these games. I just don't think there's much to it, man. What's unique about Great American Ballpark? Really nothing. So I'm going to go, this is a C tier stadium for me. Next up, Guaranteed Rate Field, home of the Chicago White Sox, also known as US Cellular, formerly known as US Cellular. This is a shitty ballpark to me. I think this is D tier pretty much. I've seen a game there. It's not very great. I don't think I need to argue with anyone saying that this is not a great ballpark. It should be the best of the D tier based on what I've tiered already. I pre-tiered this. So US Cellular, that's what it's known as, in this tier list, is going in my D tier. Next up, the new Globe Life Field, home of the Texas Rangers. For me, this is actually kind of a different stadium based on how they built it. The outside looks absolutely horrendous. It looks like a something that you'd see on a farm, like a huge building on a farm. But you look on the inside, 40,000, artificial turf, a retro modern retractable. The one picture I look at here, it's when the roof's open, it looks kind of cool on the inside. I don't know why they made it so huge, made it a pitcher's park. I think that it attract more people or more fans somehow. Their other stadium was way more unique than this one is. I'm not a fan of the indoor stadiums. I think it just too cookie cutter. This is the most unique one of the indoors. Miller Park is kind of, but I think this is newer and more unique. But for me, this is C tier, and then American Family Field comes down to C tier as well. All right, Kaufman Stadium, home of the Kansas City Royals, 37,000, 1973, a modern and retro modern stadium, open roof. I love Kaufman Stadium. I've been, when I was living in Wichita, we would go up, see the Royals play a couple times. It was my first real taste of like outdoor baseball all the time when it was really cold. I was surprised how cold it was in Kansas City at that time of the year. So like, shout out to them, shout out to the Twins, and shout out to the Royals. I don't know why you guys totally have outdoor stadiums. It gets super hot in the summer, but boy, are those spring months pretty cold up there. I like the layout of Kaufman Stadium. The Royal statue, the video board with the crown on top is really cool. For me, Kaufman Stadium, I have it as a B tier. Okay, this is just a boring one for me. Lone Depot Park. This is Marlins Park in this graphic, 36,000 artificial turf. Contemporary stadium is what they call it. But boy, they took out the best thing that ever happened to Marlins Park, and that was that fish statue that was going everywhere. I don't understand. It was all like blue accessories in the stadium as well. I guess there's some blue on the Marlins logo. I don't like this park. There's no history to it. I guess they made the playoffs the 1 year in 2020. I don't know how many years they've made the playoffs since they've been here. But for me, it's a boring park. It's C tier. Minute Maid Park, Houston Astros, 41,000. One of my favorite ones with a retractable roof. They took out Hell's Hill, right? The thing they had in center where people run up it. That was, I don't know why you put that into the stadium at first, but it's what made it unique. The train tracks is really cool. They have the Crawford boxes. I think that's what they call it in left as well. They did a good job of making this park unique for an indoor stadium. That's why it is B tier for me. It is better than the other ones, the other indoor stadiums, in my opinion. Nationals Park, if you colored the seats the same as Great American Ballpark, you're pretty much looking at the same stadium. Again, a comfy ballpark because you're not going to have the stands filled every game. I think it's just a solid stadium there. Nationals Park, I don't have much for. I guess there's a little more history now that they won the World Series a couple of years ago. But for me, a park that was built in 2008, I'm going to go C tier for Nationals Park. So the Coliseum, this is a different name on here. Ring Central Coliseum is what it's called currently. What an absolute dump this place is. It is a shame that they're playing games here. There's some history. Moneyball went on here, but the dual football field, baseball field was all time. I think one of the coolest parts that happened here was when they would play football in September and they'd see the outline of the base paths. They'd still have the infield dirt out there and they would play football. I think that was the coolest part of what the stadium has to offer. It's a dump, D tier. All right, Oracle Park, home of the Giants. This one's pretty unique. How many places can say you can hit a ball into the water? Not many places. McCovey Cove is cool. When they have the guys out in the little paddle boats trying to get the baseballs that go over the fence, it's really cool. I like the look of AT&T. Oracle. I think it is a unique stadium. The setup's really nice. Looks cold there during the summer months too, which is unfortunate. But for me, Oracle Park is an A-tier stadium. Petco Park, home of the Padres, 40,000, opened in 2004, retro modern stadium. This is a place that I love to watch baseball games at. The Western Metal Supply Company building in left field makes this really unique. I think just the setting, obviously with the backdrop of San Diego in the background, is really cool. For me, it doesn't have the prestige of some of the other parks, but I think Petco Park is an S tier stadium. Debate with me while you will, but for me, Petco Park is S tier. PNC Park, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. A real park that I think is underrated. Everyone who sees a game in Pittsburgh, I think they love watching it. I've seen maybe 5 or 6 Pirates games there. The backdrop is absolutely beautiful to watch a baseball game. The sunset that hits is beautiful. It is Rose Bowl-esque how nice that sunset is. For me, I'm going a underrated S-tier stadium in PNC Park. You see the bridges in the background, and you see I just love everything about PNC Park. If you can get there, it sucks that the Pirates are really bad, but if your favorite team is playing the Pirates, I think you should make an effort to go see a game here. Progressive Field, home of the Cleveland Guardians. Pretty funny that this place was called Progressive Field when they had their other name. Nice little laugh for the 1994 retro modern stadium. I want to give this a better rating than I think I'm going to. For me, Progressive Field is a B tier stadium. It's kind of cookie cutter, the right field when people can stand up. You can look right over the bullpens and stand there as well, which I think makes it cool. But for me, it's a B tier stadium. No worries there. B. Unfortunately, the Rogers Center is one of the worst stadiums in all of baseball. 49,000 they can fit into that place. 1989, a multi-purpose stadium. It's an indoor stadium, guys. There's nothing really to write home about. You go in there, you see the outside. you don't even want to take a picture of it. You just take a picture of the CN Tower right beside it because it is just a concrete slab. There's not much nice about the Rogers Center, but although there's not a lot of bad things about the Rogers Center. But for me, it is D tier. There's nothing crazy about it. All right, T-Mobile Park, home of the Seattle Mariners. It's another retractable roof here. It should not be over Minute Maid Park, I don't think. I originally had it B tier, but for me, I'm talking myself out of it. I think it is a nice place to kind of watch a game on TV. It's one of the parks that I don't mind sitting and watching a game for sure. I would like to get out there at some point, but again, another retractable roof, good for the summer, but I'm going to put it in C tier, I think, again, with most of the other retractables. Target Field, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 38,000. Pretty new stadium, 2010. Another retro modern. I think it's not that unique, but I really think Target Field is a nice place. I've been there a couple times. I like everything about it. It's a comfier stadium. I mean, when I say comfier stadium, Wrigley and Fenway aren't very comfy stadiums. Not totally unique, but for me, Target Field is a B tier stadium. I have nothing to say about this one, but the Trop is a D tier. I can't believe they play baseball games. It is not even in Tampa Bay, right? It's in St. Petersburg. Swing and a miss by whoever did that. So, like, I'm not thrilled with that. I don't think anyone's going to argue with D tier for the Trop. Truist Park, home of the Atlanta Braves, World Series champion. Atlanta Braves, Cumberland, Georgia, 2017, it was open. And I think this is one of the nicest new stadiums to be built. I looked at some of the rankings for some of the other ones, and they didn't have Truist too high up. I think the restaurant that they call the Chop House in right field is nice. I love when people hit home runs up into the left field, like the third deck there. I think it is a nice layout. It is like pretty modern, so there's not much uniqueness to it, but I love this field. I've been at it a couple times, but I think it's one of the cooler parks in the league. A tier for Truist Park. Wrigley Field, a field that I was at as a kid twice, I believe. There's so much history at a park like this. There's a reason they're going to keep it around. Hilarious that they didn't have lights till a couple years ago, so they had to play every single one of their games during the day. It is nice, though, to have them play when they play their home games on Fridays around 2-3 o'clock. It is nice to have a little day baseball in our lives. Wrigley Field, S tier. And finally, Yankee Stadium, home of the worst fans in baseball, the Bleacher Creatures. Again, the old Yankee Stadium was historic. This new Yankee Stadium doesn't really do it for me. Opened in 2009 in the Bronx, 46,000 people can fit in there. A retro classic stadium. They just won't be as cool as their stadiums before them. Obviously, the old Yankee Stadium was way cooler than this. They did a good job. It is a stadium built for ants. I've said that 1,000 times. I hate when the Jays have to play there all the time and just those dinky home runs over right. But I have to put Yankee Stadium right beside Citi Field, and that's in my B tier. All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Join the Discord. Don't forget to subscribe. Please, in the comments, let me know what you think, what I messed up. Put a little banter in there, and I'll be sure to comment back. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next time.